Hello everybody, just wanted to welcome you back to another episode of Denoy versus the tree. As you can see, this is the big giant tree that has fallen down in Walter's yard. Grass is like highly overgrown. As high as like 3 feet in some areas. I have to remove this tree. It's part of my agreement with Walter for staying here. So this is my first official day of doing some work on it, but obviously you can see the grass is like way crazy here. See how tall it really is? It's even more back here. So first thing I'm going to try to do, a little angel back there. First thing I'm going to try to do is actually get rid of this grass so I can have an area where I can work from. And then I'll deal with tackling the tree itself. Looks like you could even climb it. So I'll be working on this tree as soon as I get rid of all this grass. Luckily for me, Walter left a really nice lawnmower. So I have this mower right here, and I've started to test cut some of this grass here, and you can see it's not too bad. So we're going to clear off this grass, then we can access the tree, and we'll begin actual work on removing the tree. As I have started to cut away the grass, I can see one of the problems here. There are tree stumps and branches all in this yard buried underneath all this grass. And how this got here is something that we can talk about that might save some of you some heartache. When the tree fell down, this big giant tall tree, it was living. And Hurricane Matthew knocked it down into several people's yards. I think the tree basically went into 3 different yards. Walter's, the neighbor over there, and this other one over here. Well, being the good neighbor, Walter gave the neighbors some money to get a really expensive chainsaw to cut down the tree in their yard, but they didn't do it, they just left it. And then he also hired some people to cut the tree down and, parts of the tree out of the neighbor's yard because he was trying to be a nice neighbor. All they did was cut it, like see how it's cut off there, and they tossed the wood into Walter's yard. They didn't haul it off. So they threw all that crap into this yard here, which is now buried underneath all this overgrowth. Okay, several things. One, Walter really didn't have to do that. It turns out that Florida law, now you have to check the law in your own area, but Florida law says that if a tree falls and it was alive when it fell, if it falls into the neighbor's yard, they are responsible for removing the part that's in their yard. You, the owner of the tree, are not responsible, as long as the tree was alive when it fell. Now, if the tree was dead, on the other hand, then the owner of the tree, the area where it came from, is responsible. In this case, this was and still is a living tree. You see the leaves growing out of there? So all that overgrowth over there that's still there, Walter's really not responsible for. Which means I'm not responsible for it. So I'm just going to clear out this side, and I'm going to cut that and let it fall. And the neighbors can be mad all they want. What they need to do, one, first off, Walter gave them money, so they need to shut up. He didn't even have to give them money. What they're supposed to do is claim it on their homeowner's insurance. And then that will cover it. That will pay for that tree falling down and for the removal. These neighbors just took the money and ran. That's what it looks like. They took the money, they didn't remove the tree, and then when Walter hired some people to cut the tree down in here, they cut it and they tossed all these branches into his yard. So I'm going to be responsible for removing all this now. And that's okay, because I was aware of this when I came into this place, and that was my agreement. So this is going to be an interesting project, because you can see this is really huge. It's almost like about 18 feet tall. Maybe not, more like 14 feet high. But I'll have to try to clear all this grass out of here so I can see what's going on, because I can't even tell what's underneath everything right now. So that'll be the big goal. As you can see, I started to clear this area, so I'm working my way in. Then will come the real challenge of actually removing this giant tree here. Alright, we are near the end of day 2 of Denoy versus the tree. And you can see it's really been more Denoy versus the yard. But you can see I was testing a little electric saw that Walter left. It's a branch trimmer. I just cut out the section right here. And it looks like I may be able to do what I want to do. Although those big sections, I don't know if that little saw will make it. But part of the problem is that you can't really see what's back here, and underneath there's fencing, there's stumps. You can see all the stumps back there, and snakes, and all sorts of crazy stuff back here. So before I can really do anything, I need to access the yard and see what's here. And that means trimming away all this overgrowth, which is what I've done with the yard right here. The weed whacker that I've been using to get into this area. See, this area got cleared. It did look like that earlier. And I did use the mower up through most of this. But you can see the edges here will need the weed whacker. So once we have all this clear, we can actually assess what we can do and need to do to get rid of this tree. But this section here is going to be a booger. Look at all that. It's got big giant logs that have been dumped here. Big logs. I might leave them sitting around here as a little campfire area. So the other thing is to potentially leave parts of this up for Nicholas, my son, to build a little fort out of. So we'll see what happens. Well, thank you all for tuning in. And the yard is looking pretty good. We'll need to trim all this area here, fix the hurricane damage, and I think we'll be all right. Little campfire area. So the other thing is to potentially leave parts of this up for Nicholas, my son, to build a little fort out of. So we'll see what happens. Well, thank you all for tuning in. And the yard is looking pretty good. We'll need to trim all this area here, fix the hurricane damage, and I think we'll be all right.